Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Jamie Dean and welcome to this week's gaming pickups video here on Sidescrollin. Featuring this week a game that has changed everything as far as this whole collecting thing goes for me. Let me show you. Alright, let's get straight into it. We've got a bit of a jumble of things here this week. I've got a couple of things I picked up in person at my local bookshop, a secondhand store that I stopped into, and the rest of the eBay pickups for the week. Let's kick it off with my bookshop finds. First, starting out with this little number. Command & Conquer Generals. Now, unfortunately, this has a sticker on the case, a red hot $49.99 sticker that has fused itself to the box, and my very limited little attempt to remove it has shown that it is going to take the top layer of the cardboard of the box away, which is a goddamn shame because you do not find cardboarded PC games in secondhand stores ever, I don't think. I'm trying to think, have I found one? No, I don't think I've found any cardboard boxed PC games in person in a secondhand store before. So that's what got me very excited about this one when I spotted it on the shelf. And I didn't think about the sticker situation until I got it home, and then unfortunately found that I can't actually remove it, which is a damn shame. But anyway, not to worry. It's all there. So we've got our plastic case inside the cardboard. And inside, if I take all the bits and pieces out, everything's here. We've got a disc, we've got a CD key, which I will do my best to cover up. And we have our manual, our little tech tree leaflet, which folds out in really good condition. As well as something I don't remember being part of this package of this game when I had it back in the day is this little sort of strategies, tips and tricks leaflet, which is really cool. So that was nice to have. All there, all in the case, all for $5 dues. I managed to pick this one up for, and I was pretty happy to do so. Command & Conquer Generals was a hot favorite in the LAN party ring back in the day for a little while there. This was the game that got played in my circle of friends at LAN parties for a little while. Really good fun game. Really enjoyed it. Was this the first 3D outing for Command & Conquer? Or was Tiberian Sun a 3D game? I can't quite remember. In any case, we had a really good time with this. Most memorable for its incredible anti-cheat, anti-piracy mechanisms that they built into this one, where if you're not familiar with it, if you had a pirated copy of Command & Conquer Generals, it would allow you to connect into a game, and after about 5 or 10 minutes, long enough to get a base of operations established and get a bit of a supply chain going, everything would just detonate and explode and you would lose the match. So there was a few LAN parties where we were trying to work out why are some of our bases just exploding 10 minutes into the game and other people's aren't. So whoever came up with that one, whatever developer came up with that one for Command & Conquer Generals, well done. You earned your paycheck that day. Very, very clever. Incredibly annoying and frustrating, but clever nonetheless. I can't help but respect it. So there we go. Command & Conquer Generals, a good fun one. Again, I love RTS games. I love the RTS genre. I love these games in a multiplayer scenario or sort of environment. And yeah, Generals was a good one for that. I had a good time with this. So yeah, there we go. Command & Conquer Generals in box. Unfortunately, with a sticker that is now part of the box, but I'll see what I can do about that. I'll See if I can work my magic on it. It's not looking good though, unfortunately, but we'll see what we can do. But in box, all the same for a $5. So I was happy to pick that one up and bring that one back. The other find I found in the bookshop, which is incredibly heavy, but I snapped it up straight away because this is linked to some of my absolute favorite Pokemon games of all time, and that is the Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver Pokedex. This is a chunky book. Like, it is hefty. There is some weight to this. It's like a brick. Unfortunately, I've been trying to bend it back into shape. Unfortunately, it does have a bow, sort of a curve to it. I think it's been water damaged at some stage, which is probably why it's ended up in a secondhand store bin. But it is all there. There's no pages missing. And it's all like very technical, you know. See if I can show you a bit of what's in there. So it's just page after page of this, of stats, stat blocks, all that kind of jazz for all of the Pokemon that are in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. But again, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, some of my favorite Pokemon games, some of my favorite games of all time. And I haven't gotten any printed material for them at all, really, short of the manual that I have in my Heart Gold case. So when I saw this on the shelf, that went straight into my hand, and it was coming home with me for sure. So very, very happy to have that on the shelf. I'll see what I can do to get that curve out. I think if I just put some weight on top of it for like a week or so, it should hopefully bend it back into shape. I've had some success doing that with books in the past, so I'll give that a shot, and hopefully it'll come good. I don't know if you can tell. You probably can't on the camera, but it's actually been contacted. Can you see that? Probably not. The camera's like doing a little... Oh, there you go. You can't see the shine there. Yeah, it's been contacted as though it's like a school book or something, or a library book. It doesn't have a library code on the spine at all, so maybe somebody's just contacted it to protect it as best they can while they owned it. I mean, that's going to some serious lengths. Well done. It hasn't protected it from the water damage, but they gave it a go. And no doubt the cover's in very good condition because it has been contacted all these years. So, Anyway, happy to have that one on the shelf for sure. That was a good find. I was really happy about that one. Then I had a little bit of a heartbreak, actually. I had to go to the hardware store to pick up some bits and pieces for an art project that I'm about to start. And just across the road from the hardware, there is that Red Cross secondhand store where I had that magic find of Ico on the PS2. I left my name and number there for them to give me a call whenever they got any video games in, because they had a huge stack of games when I went in to ask what they had. And I haven't heard from them. That was a few weeks ago now. I haven't heard a peep out of them. So I thought, look, either they've gotten no games in, which can happen, especially where I live, or my number's been lost. And they've just been churning over video games and I'm none the wiser. So while I was over that side of town, I stopped in at the Red Cross shop and asked if they had any video games in. But before I did that, actually, when I walked into the store, sitting on the counter, they must be doing some, I don't know, collector's promotion or something like that, where they have something that's come through the store that they think is collectible, and they put it on the counter with a little advertisement specifically for collectors. And so I walked into the shop today and closed the door, turned around, looked at the counter, and my heart kind of skipped a beat, because sitting there on the counter was a VHS of Pokemon the first movie. And that's something that I have been actively chasing. I really want to get a copy of Pokemon the first movie. It's a very, very special thing to me. I absolutely adore it. I love it. Seeing Pokemon on the big screen for the first time is one of those memories that it'll be seared into my brain for as long as I live, I think. So when I saw this, I thought, oh my God, I walked straight to it, picked it up. It had $7 on it, which is not bad for that particular item. I've been chasing them on eBay. They're sort of about $12 and up, $12 to $20, and then you've got to pay shipping on top of that. So $7 in store. I thought, you know what, I'm having that. Turned it over. It had a tear in the back plastic of the back cover, a little bit of a tear there, which was a shame. But again, I thought, you know what, $7 in person, not a problem. Opened it up and just crushed when I found that the VHS tape was covered in mold. I was so gutted, absolutely gutted, and I kept closing it and opening it and looking at it, and inspecting it again, as I was like expecting it to disappear, or trying to convince myself that it was just dirty, that it was just dust. But there was no mistaking it. It was very, very moldy. And unfortunately, at the end, I decided to leave it there. That it wasn't worth bringing mold back into the game room. I don't want that shit in here. But yeah, absolutely crushed to have found Pokemon the first movie VHS in person in the wild and had to walk away from it. So that sucked. But after I saw that, I asked them if they had any games in stock, and they brought out another huge stack of games, mostly PC games this time. Someone must have cleared out their PC game collection. Not much other than PC games, actually. Now that I think about it, I think they have a few Xbox One titles, but that was about it. They had some really nice pieces in there, actually, some really nice games. They had Star Wars The Old Republic. They had a lot of Star Wars stuff, actually. Star Wars The Old Republic 2, Knights of the Old Republic, I should say, 1 and 2. They had a Star Wars PC collection, which had 5 big hitters, big Star Wars hitters on there. They had some Battlefront. They had Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. All good stuff. Jedi Academy is one that I wouldn't mind picking up at some point to have on the shelf. I really enjoyed that game. That was a particular one that I remember in the Star Wars line very fondly. But this was like one of those where they've re-released the game 10 times over and under different names, and it's got like just a tiny little picture of the cover art around some frame that says PC Classics or something like that. It was one of those, so I don't really want, if I'm going to pick it up, I don't really want that version. I want the full cover art version. But they had, what was it there? They had a copy. The one that really stood out to me was a copy of The Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2, which is a very rare, sought-after game, if you can find it. But it was one of those re-released versions. It was I think it was called the Value Edition or something like that. It was in a bright orange case with a little picture of the cover in the center of the case. It was in really poor condition. It had been really battered. The case had yellowed. It had stickers on it. So I thought about it, and I thought, no, I don't. I don't have a personal attachment to it myself. I never played it, unfortunately. I think I would have loved it. Again, it's in a genre that I adore. I wish I had have played it back in the day, but I just never did. So I was only looking at it as an option to flip on eBay or something like that, or on Facebook Marketplace. And given the condition, I didn't think it would really I'd get much value out of it. Especially, I think they wanted $5 a game or something. So I decided to leave that one there as well. The one I did pick up, however, and initially I bought this to again. It's not a game that I have any interest in. It's just one that I bought to turn around and resell on eBay or Facebook Marketplace for some more funds for the shelf. But then I thought of my buddy Justin, who is an absolute Call of Duty fanatic, and I thought, oh, actually, he might like that. I'll grab it for him and see if that's something that he needs for his collection. And that is Call of Duty Black Ops 4, the Pro Edition for the Xbox One. Now, this is a tidy little collector's edition. Again, speaking as someone who's not a huge Call of Duty fan, I don't know a whole lot about modern Call of Duty games. In fact, I think one of the only Call of Duty games I've ever played is the very original Call of Duty on the PC, way back in the day, which I very much enjoyed, actually. I should give the campaigns in some of the more recent games a go, because they're supposed to be quite good. But inside this, you get this kick-ass looking steelbook. You can see there, front and back. Really nice. Inside, We have our disc, and I'll just remove the little like leaflets and things so you can see the inside artwork. Look at that. So yeah, really nice one. Good looking steelbook. But we also get some other interesting bits and pieces inside that box. You get two little sleeves. One that's just the Black Ops 4 logo, and another one for Black Ops Zombies. But inside these little wallets is something I certainly didn't expect to find. Certainly not when you see a game, when you pick these sorts of sets up secondhand, right? Most of this stuff is gutted. Like I was thrilled that the steelbook was in there and the game was in it. Like that in itself was a really good find, a really nice little pickup in a secondhand store. But the fact that not only that it had these little wallets, but that their contents are still intact and all there was pretty amazing. So you open this thing up, and you get this secondary little fold-out display. And inside that, you have these, which look fucking cool, man. They're like... Now, they look like stickers, but they're actually like material iron-on patches. And they're really good quality. I don't know if my camera is going to really show them in all their glory very well, but they're really, really nice. I'm guessing these are all characters from the game that I'm not aware of. But yeah, fine. I did not expect to see that when I opened up this little wallet. I thought, wow, that's like really nice. And they're all there. So that was in there, complete, and very much, there's a bit of wear from it being pulled in and out of the box or sleeve a few times by the looks of it, but other than that, it's in good condition. And then inside the Black Ops Zombies wallet, we've got these little postcard art pieces, 3 of them. I don't know if that's how many should be in here, but there's number 1. And again, all look really nice. Number 2. And my favorite, number 3. Love that art. That old school sort of 80s, 70s era art style. Beautiful. Yeah, really cool. So that was everything that came in that Pro Edition. Is that what it was called? Yeah, Pro Edition of Call of Duty Black Ops 4. It's a mouthful. Yeah, really good find. So I snatched that. I looked at it, thought, I might be able to, that could be worth something to someone. And then, yeah, Justin popped into my head. I thought, I wonder if he wants that. Yep, I'll take it. So I grabbed it. So there we go. Justin, if you're watching, all yours, bud. I'll figure out a way to get it to you. If he doesn't want it, then, yeah, it'll go into the pile to be moved on to find a new home and give me some much needed funds for the shelf. All right, so they were my in-person finds this week. Again, not a lot of in-person hunting this week. This was literally just today that I found those. That I'm recording this the afternoon just gone is when I picked those up. So yeah, that was the first opportunity I had to get out and about in person. Let's move on to what I found on eBay. There are 3 items here. One of which I'll do last and we'll talk about, because even now sitting here looking at it, I still can't quite believe that it's sitting on my desk. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. So first up, I bought a box set of DVDs for a series that I absolutely adore. It's just missing its sleeve, but I got this for like, I think it was $10 maybe. I'm pretty sure it was $10 I paid for this whole set. And that is Alias. I fucking love Alias. Really, really good show. I got very, very invested in it all the way up until it kind of went weird, right? If you watched Alias, you'll know what I'm talking about. I think it was during the writers' strike at the time. I think Lost suffered from a similar sort of thing, but yeah, it got weird at some point. Went very like supernatural kind of, yeah, off the rails a little bit. In fact, I wonder, because I think I got to that point and then gave it away. That must have been sometime in season 4, I think. So I wonder if I like went back and watched it, what I'd make of it today, because I've probably got a little bit more tolerance for that sort of thing now than I used to. But certainly up until that point, just an absolute banger of a show. I really, really love it, and I'm very keen to revisit it and see if it holds up. I'm really hoping that it does hold up, because I very much enjoyed it. Fun fact, Tom Cruise actually asked J.J. Abrams to direct Mission Impossible 3 after he watched this, the first season of Alias. He got given a box set of it. He took it home to his hotel room, binged the whole season, called J.J. Abrams the next day and said, I want you to direct my next Mission Impossible movie. And that's how we got Mission Impossible 3, which is a fantastic film. So, yeah, there you go. Little piece of film trivia for you if you didn't know that one. But there we go. Alias, box set in its entirety, a tenner for one of my favorite series of all time. I think you can stream this on Disney Plus at the moment, maybe. I don't know where these fucking things are. Again, that's the whole point of getting the physical things for my favorite shows and movies. But yeah, chuffed with that one. A good little find, I think. Okay, we have some Nintendo 64 for the shelf. We have a Nintendo 64 title that was on my list to get for the shelf, and it's probably the priciest game that I've picked up for the collection so far, but it was like a top tier, I need to get this for the collection kind of game. And I think that would be the case for anybody putting together a Nintendo 64 collection. It's a rare game, and by which I mean not a hard to find game, but from the publisher Rare, and that is the very much loved sequel to GoldenEye, Perfect Dark. Man, you know, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, you will know my thoughts on Perfect Dark. I love Perfect Dark. I think it was a fantastic game. I think it was a fantastic multiplayer game. I would even go so far as to say it was possibly a better multiplayer game than GoldenEye. Sacrilege, I know. And I love my GoldenEye. Don't get me wrong. GoldenEye is fucking brilliant. One of my favorite games of all time. One of the best games ever made. But Perfect Dark was fucking good, man. It was fucking good. Campaign was good too. I didn't enjoy the campaign as much as GoldenEye's by any... Like, it wasn't even close for me. Like, GoldenEye had a fantastic campaign. Perfect Dark had a good campaign, but the multiplayer was just awesome, I think. So this is complete in box. So we have our manual, and we have our cartridge, and this time it is in its original insert, which is getting harder and harder to come by these days, original inserts. I've got a stack of aftermarket ones, luckily, to put in, but they've kind of got like a glossy kind of finish to them, and I don't really like that. I like the matte cardboard of the originals. But yeah, all there, complete in box. The box is in pretty good condition. I say it's the most expensive game that I've got for the collection. I mean, fortunately for me, my collection has been acquired incredibly cheaply for the most part. So it doesn't necessarily mean that this was an incredibly expensive game. But I think the reason I managed to get it for the price that I got it for is because the box does have a little bit of tearing. You can see that there is a rip in the top corner there where it's taken a ding at some point. There's also a tiny little tear just there under the logo. Other than that, though, I think it's in really good nick. It's not sun faded at all, which is rare for these largely black N64 covers. Any black cardboard Nintendo cover does, I find, tend to get sun faded a little bit. But this one is still vibrantly, has all its colors, looks really good, no sun fading at all. Yeah, so I was happy with that. And again, that was one that was on the list that I knew going into this that it was like, right, I want Perfect Dark on my shelf. I'm not going to feel like it played such a huge role in the Nintendo 64 years for me, that a Nintendo 64 collection of mine would feel absolutely incomplete unless Perfect Dark was part of it. So yes, very, very happy I managed to finally track a box copy down. Not easy to find complete in box either, by the way. There are carts floating around. There's a couple of complete in box copies, but they were really messed up. They were like, I'm not a mint collector. I've already talked about that. You've seen that with some of the games that I've bought. But I think for something like Perfect Dark, I did want to, get something that was in a little bit better condition, that wasn't, completely stepped on and bent and ripped and all that sort of jazz. So, I think I've managed to come out pretty well with that one. And I'm a happy boy, a happy boy to have that finally in the collection. Perfect Dark, yes. Okay, last item for this week. Let's talk about it. So, when I did, if you've seen my Grails video, there were games that I mentioned on my Grails list that I basically just wrote off as saying, like, I'm never going to get these. They're either too hard to find complete in box, or when they are available complete in box, they're way out of my price range. There are games that I didn't even bother mentioning on my Grails list because I thought, you know what, there's no chance. Like, I've just accepted that I'm never going to have this on my shelf in its complete in-box form. I might have to get a loose cart and a reproduction box, or just a loose cart in a cart protector or something like that, right? If I'm lucky. However, one of the games that I mentioned on my Grails list and just, again, flippantly and wrote off, I don't even remember if I think I did put it in my little infographic that I show whenever I manage to track one of these down. And I kind of put it in there as a bit of a running gag because, I thought it's never going to light up. It'll just be this infographic where this title is always dulled out because I'm never going to find it. I'm never going to afford it. If I can find it, it's just never going to happen. And I'd accepted that. So, color me surprised when I found not only a copy of this game that I could afford and was happy to pay, but a boxed copy of this game for a ludicrous price, like just a silly price. I still can't quite believe that I have what I have in my hands and paid what I paid for it. I'm not going to tell you what I paid for it because I did come to an arrangement with the seller, but it was insane. Like, I would have been crazy, absolutely crazy, to turn this down, and I can't believe that it was even offered to me for that much in the first place. Yeah, it's insane. I'm just going to show you what it is. You ready? Here it comes. Pokemon Snap. And I mean, the camera is doing some work here. It is not the most perfect copy of this game I've ever seen by any stretch of the imagination, but it isn't bad. It's not bad at all. There's a tear down here, you can see, where I think some tape has been pulled away at some point. And it's going to be really hard to show you this on the camera, but you can see it there. There is actually tape on the box, just here, in this one spot, that has been there, and down the bottom here as well. You can sort of see it there if I angle it just right. You can see the tape residue there. And the tape has been on this box for so long that there is no longer any separation between tape and box. They have become one. I cannot scratch or peel this. It's part of the box now. It's literally flush with the box. And it's caused this very slight sort of discoloring, as you can probably just barely see there. But honestly, unless I pointed it out, or you looked really carefully and you knew what you were looking for, you can't really even notice it. And again, for what I got this for, I'm not complaining at all. This showed up in so much better condition than I thought it would. Yeah. And again, I like I said, I can't believe I'm sitting here holding this like this. I never thought I thought I'd end up with a cartridge of Pokemon Snap, and I'd have to track down a reproduction box for it, and I'd sort of just committed myself to that. The cartridges are fairly affordable. They go for about $30 odd. I will tell you that I did not pay very much more than that for this boxed copy. Yeah, it's just wild. Absolutely wild. The other reason it was cheap is not only because the box was a little bit messed up, but it did not come with a manual. So it wasn't complete in box, it was just boxed. There's the cartridge. The cartridge itself is absolutely immaculate. Like that, it looks fucking brand new. It's the cleanest, best looking Nintendo 64 cartridge I have in my collection. And I haven't done anything to it. It just came like that. So, chuffed with that. Really wrapped with that. Original insert. So what I did, given that I got it for such an incredible deal, I went and tracked down a manual separately. Didn't cost very much. I don't actually remember how much it cost me, but it wasn't terribly expensive, and they sent it in this lovely plastic sleeve, which is nice. I've left it in there. I took it out and had a flip through, obviously, when it got here, but I'm going to leave it in there just to keep it safe and protected. So now, with the addition of that, I own a complete in-box copy of Pokemon Snap. And I can't believe it. Like, I literally can't believe... Have I said that enough? I literally can't believe that I'm holding this. I never in a million years thought that this is something that would end up sitting on my shelf. No way in the world. And so what this has done is it's completely changed my whole outlook on this whole collecting endeavor, right? On this whole putting the collection together. Because if I can get this for what I got it for, I can get anything. What else can I get? You know what I mean? Suddenly, these games that I wrote off as never being attainable, things like, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, like fucking Mario Party, or like Pokemon Stadium, like any of those top tier, super rare, super expensive titles that you see on eBay for hundreds of dollars, you never know. Now I'm like, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can actually find some of these games for a price I can afford and actually get complete in-box copies on the shelf of those games that I never dreamed I would ever own. So, yeah, that's been the find of this entire endeavor so far. Like, of all the weeks I've been doing this, what is this, week 8 or 9 now? 9, I think. That I've been doing this and recording it. That find right there has changed the game for me. Like, that has really opened up my eyes as to what can be done on a shoestring budget. If you're patient and you're willing to compromise a little bit on not buying, pristine mint in box copies of things, if you can just compromise a little bit on the quality, put some work into cleaning things up. This box here, I've given this a little bit of a tidy up to get it looking as good as, like I said, it came much better than I thought it would, but I've still given it a nice little clean up to get it looking its best. Yeah, some patience and a little bit of time and elbow grease have absolutely reaped rewards this time. And you might be looking at this and thinking, like, look, this is no big deal, right? That Pokemon Snap is something you could very easily just walk out and buy, and you've got it, and you don't understand what the big hoo-ha is. That's great. For you, if that's your reality and that's your situation, that's fantastic. For me, this is unreal. This is absolutely fucking unreal. And I am over the moon, beside myself happy that I'm holding this, because I never thought I would. Simple as that. So there we go. Pokemon Snap, complete, in box, on the fucking shelf, my friends. Oh, you love it. So that's two games off my list in 1 week. Unreal luck this week. Really, really good finds, especially with that Pokemon Snap. I can't believe it. I can't believe we're lighting that one up, and I'm going to have that one sitting on the shelf behind me. As soon as I finish recording this video, pretty much that's going straight back in its box protector, and I'll be finding a home for it. Whoop, over here, on here somewhere. Because I want that one on display. Absolutely. That's brilliant. So many good memories attached to that game as well. Such a nostalgic game. A very one that I personally never owned, but it did the rental circuit a lot. It was a sleepover favorite, that one, for whatever reason. I don't know. I think because we were just right in the midst of Pokemania. Pokemon Fever was everywhere. Pokemon Snap was the first Pokemon game on the Nintendo 64, which was the console in my little collection of friends. And so, yeah, we were just rabid for it and loved it. Loved it. So, yeah, super duper happy that I now own a complete in-box copy. As you can probably tell by my voice and my face, I am beaming. So that's it. That is going to do it from me for this week. What did you think of the pickups this week? Have you played any of these? Do you remember any of these really fondly? Did you play Perfect Dark? Did you play Pokemon Snap, Command & Conquer Generals? Hell, even Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Let me know down in the comments below if you played some of these games and if you have good memories of them, if you think they're worth having on the shelf of nostalgia here behind me. I'd very much like to hear about it. Otherwise, until next time, make sure you all look after yourself. Thanks so much for hanging out, and keep side-scrolling. Take it easy. Pokemon Snap!